Welcome back. I'm in conversation with the National Police Commissioner, Khehla Sitole, on the fix here. Commissioner, you were saying that when you came in, you immediately instituted a complete overhaul of the procurement processes. If this is the case, why do we have the Hawks looking at COVID-19 tenders that were issued under your tenure? I mean, this is as late as July now.
Hello.
Commissioner, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question. You said before the break that when you took over, you had asked for a complete overhaul of the procurement system. If this is the case, why do we have tender irregularities that the Hawks are now investigating relating to COVID-19? That is as late as July, or as recent rather as July.
Okay. Let me first indicate the reason why the Hawks are investigating is actually part and parcel of the overhaul of the procurement investigation, because I have also put in oversight that is around the procurements, which I've built around that. If there's any suspicion, the matters must be investigated immediately. I have interacted with the Hawks. I have interacted with IP. I have also interacted with our crime detection, and that is under the anti-corruption strategy, which I also designed and introduced as part and parcel of the turnaround. But there's other changes that I have included. There's a contract management strategy that I've put in place with the contract management committee that looks specifically into contracts. And I have appointed a new boss in the supply chain. So that has been a total restructuring approach. Remember, corruption does not only happen, I can say, in such, it happened all over, but we have decided to stamp our authority so that if it happens, we immediately take action.
Okay, so if I'm to take you at your word, sir, can you explain to me why certain individuals that have been involved in corruption are in fact still in the SAPS? So we have General Shezi, who was investigated in relation to allegations of corruption in 2015. Lieutenant General Shezi, a member of the South African Police Services, requested extensive renovations of her house from a manager of a Doran construction company. And she was found guilty of misconduct, and she was sanctioned to only a month suspicion. IPID wrote a letter to the SAPS challenging the sanction, and SAPS responded that they are taking the matter on review. Now, how does someone who tries to get renovations done to their private house from contractors, how does such a person end up with a month suspension?
Yeah, in actual fact, Karim, you started by giving a compliment, because the action against Pathan has been completed, and the action against Shezi is about to be completed.
Let's go to Pahlane. You've sacked Pahlane from the SAPS, but what about criminal charges? Where is that at? Because a lot of people simply, when they are found guilty, they are internally sanctioned, they lose their posts, but very little happens to them after that. You are the police. So are you pursuing criminal investigations against General Pahlane? And what exactly are you going to be doing with Lieutenant General Shezi? Why is she still in the police? How could you give her a month suspension?
All right, but can we agree, Karima, the Pahlane matter to me has been closed, and I think it has been acknowledged by everyone. Criminal-wise, Fortunate enough, IPIT is investigating because we're not investigating ourselves. There's few other charges that are investigated by us. I'm sure you heard recently we had a takedown of 16 people, including both members of the police in supply chain as well as suppliers.
Okay.
And that's the action we're taking. But remember, when I took over office, these matters of Pahlane and Shezi were already in progress. Ne? Now it all depends how were they started. If they were not started correctly, I first had to correct them. And now I'm giving you the assurance, Shezi's matter will be finalized soon, and I'll give you a report.
Okay, so I know that you are not able to give us dates, but can you tell me who decided that Lieutenant General Shezi should only be sanctioned for 1 month after trying to procure, construction done to a house? How does she end up with a slap on the wrist like that?
Okay, remember, these cases, I think we've brought in independent, that is external presiding officers to deal with them. And as and when they deal with them in tribunals, they make independent decisions. So it is that tribunal that decided, based on the evidence they say they found, that the sanction should be 1 month. That's
okay,
why.
So let me put it to you. Let me put it to you, Commissioner. As the Commissioner of the South African Police Service, do you think that the sanction matches the wrongdoing of Lieutenant Shezi? Do you think that sanctioning her for 1 month sends a message to the South African public that if you are involved in corruption and if you're a police officer, that you are adequately punished? Are you confident that sanctioning her for 1 month is in fact the appropriate measure?
I definitely don't, and as a result, I appeal that sanction.
You're appealing that sanction, is that what you're saying, sir?
Yes, I've taken it on review.
Okay, so General Shezi is going to be dealt with. Let me take you further back to police officers against whom cases have been laid. We've got General Johan Boysen, the former head of the Hawks. He was on this program last week, and he indicated that he had laid charges against, certain members of the South African police forces. In fact, I think it's General Pandey Madu. The matter was supposed to be back on the roll on the October the 18th, and it's now sitting apparently with the NPA. But can you tell me why General Madu, who attempted to bribe Johan Boysen, is in fact still in the police force?
Okay, I think Johan Boysen is talking about old cases while he was still in the service. But what I will give you is a principle. The moment there's criminal allegations made against any member, then we institute an internal investigation. The same applies here. When Johan Boysen gave that evidence, I think he gave it to the commission, and then I immediately instituted an internal investigation to verify the allegations that you have made so that we deal with them departmentally. Okay,
so what has your internal investigation found? And moreoverly, what are you planning to do with Madu?
Remember, look, for me, is to take action the moment the report is finalized. When an internal investigation is instituted, the person conducting the investigation make findings and recommendations.
Commissioner, with respect, this matter happened a very long time ago. We're talking here as way back as 4 years ago. In terms of my understanding of IPID and how things work, how does a police officer who bribes another police officer or who faces those allegations and is in fact having a case against him, how does the South African police take 4 years to make up its mind whether that allegation is true or not? It's supposed to have gone back on the roll. Can you take South Africans into confidence and tell us What exactly is the internal investigation against Madhu about? When will it be completed? And if found guilty, what is the penalty?
Yeah, I'm actually glad, Karima, that you actually revealed the fact that this investigation took 4 years uh, to, to be concluded or to be brought into our attention now that this is the case. But let me explain to you. Whenever such an internal investigation would be surfaced, let me say 4 years ago, some people would take decisions, and decisions which does not necessarily warrant that is the misconduct. And when you start an internal investigation 4 years later, then there's a series of people who would be forming part now of the investigation who might have acted incorrectly. And that makes that investigation a complex investigation. And that's a type of a report that gets brought before me for me to make a decision. But then in that case, it's no longer the person who bribed alone. It's all the people who are involved in that particular series. So that's what I have instructed should be investigated.
But the point here, Commissioner, is that Johan Boysen already testified a year ago at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry. So the case itself is 4 years old. Johan Boysen went to Zondo a year ago, and still you haven't concluded this matter. You've got a police officer facing very serious allegations who's in a position of command, who can pursue others, and he stands accused of breaking the law. Does that not concern you? Should this person not at the very least be removed from his job until the internal investigation is completed, sir?
Yeah, look, there are some actions which were taken, because I know the case you're referring to is a person who is in the KZN establishment.
Yes.
The provincial commissioner was instructed immediately to take the necessary action. And
what is the necessary action, Commissioner? What exactly? Because we don't understand police procedures. So when you say that the KZN Commissioner of Police was instructed to take action, what action was he instructed or she instructed to take? And has it been taken?
Yeah, the first action that gets taken when you've got an internal investigation and a member is accused of maybe of a misconduct while he's in the employ of the service in a particular section. Firstly, that person is shifted away from that environment so that the investigation takes its course. And then immediately after the investigation has been concluded, then a decision would be made whether he should be suspended or not, or we must follow the expeditious process or take the
with respect, Commissioner, the person in question, Mr. Madhu, is currently, as we are speaking, the head of supply chain management in KwaZulu-Natal. So how can you say that the police commissioner in the province was instructed to take action when you have Mr. Madhu still heading up supply chain management? You are currently being investigated at a national level for irregularities in supply chain management. How seriously can I take your process when someone against whom allegations were made of bribery 4 years ago is in a very key position doing business on behalf of the SAPS, when you are now, in the year 2020, facing fresh allegations of impropriety?
Okay. Remember again, Karima, when such an investigation is conducted, we do not necessarily draw a conclusion before the report that this person has either committed that offense or not. And then we investigate and prove that this particular person and then has committed that particular misconduct. So that particular process has been initiated, but each investigation takes the time depending on its complexity. But all I can promise you is that this report is going to be tabled to me, and anyway, I will demand the final report immediately
But can you give South Africans a time frame? 4 years has passed, sir. This man stands accused of trying to bribe another police officer. He sits in supply chain management. Khomotso Patlani has been sacked from the police because of supply chain management irregularities. You are again being investigated as the SAPS for tender irregularities. There is a pattern here, sir. How can General Madhu still be in his position? Surely he is able to interfere with the investigation if he retains his position. Should he not be suspended or at the very least transferred out of that unit?
Okay, because you wanted me to give you a time frame, I think let me give you within 14 days from now, I shall have made a decision on this matter. I'll call upon the provincial commissioner to give me his final report.
So you are saying to the South African public, as a consequence of me asking you when this is going to be acted on, that within 2 weeks, 14 days, the police commissioner in KwaZulu-Natal must give you a completed report on an investigation on the conduct of General Madhu. Is that what you're saying, sir?
Yes, a final report.
Okay, and in the meantime, does General Madhu remain the head of supply chain management, considering that the police nationally is being investigated to the tune of 540 million rand?
Yeah, look, each and every person will be in a position or remain in a position until a decision is made. But remember, I am saying to you, a provincial commissioner will be called to give me a final report on this particular matter, after which I would then make a decision. This matter is the same as the Patlane matter. I have been given quite a lot of pressure, people asking when is it getting finalized. But I've pushed it. Remember, you have to do it correct again. I've pushed it up to a point. Now it's finalized. Even this one will be finalized. And I've given you the 14 days.
All right. Commissioner Khehla Sitole, thank you so very much. I wish we had more time. And I am taking this as an undertaking from you that you will, in 14 days, come back to the fix and report to the nation what exactly is going to be happening to Mr. Madhu, who is, in fact, still in his position. I must say, it's quite shocking. The National Police Commissioner, Khehla Sitole, will be back on the fix in 14 days to tell us what is going to be happening to the head of supply chain management in KwaZulu-Natal. Still ahead, why are racists accepted back into the African National Congress, which has accepted non-racialism as one of its founding principles? Don't go anywhere.